Welcome to the Chamber Chat. I'm Matt Ricker here today with Tony from Teriyaki Madness, located at 20 LeCount Place here in New Rochelle. Tony, thank you very much for joining us today.
Matt, thank you for having me today. We're really excited to have this podcast today.
That's great. So, first of all, welcome to New Rochelle. You have recently opened, and we're very excited to have you. I think it's a very unique type of place. We haven't had a place like this before, so this is great. But let's start by you telling me a little bit about yourself and how you eventually got into Teriyaki Madness.
Sure. Well, once again, thank you for having me.
Sure.
We're really excited to be part of New Rochelle community, and I grew up in an entrepreneurial household where we were in the outlet business, the dinnerware business specifically, and I just really loved the entrepreneurial spirit that my dad had. Every day was different. You sort of got to control your own destiny, and you're able to wear many different hats at the same time, marketing and operations. And probably like in my mid-20s, I decided that I wanted to do something on my own and really, leave my thumbprint on something. And I got involved with the franchise model, and I got involved with Dunkin' Donuts at the time.
Okay.
And I had opened a bunch of Dunkin' Donuts, and at one point I had created my own restaurant, which was open for about 8 years. And one day there was a gentleman, his name's John, and we met up and we decided to partner up. We have, both various different skill sets, and we decided that Teriyaki Madness was a good fit for growth. We felt that the category of Asian fast casual was underserved, and we opened our first location about 30 months ago or so.
Okay.
And we just love the menu, we love the brand, we love the possibilities, we love the flavor profile. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's great. The food that you brought over smells very good. I can't wait to try some.
Absolutely.
So how did you decide to come to New Rochelle?
Well, New Rochelle was one of those areas where we felt was underserved with really good food. We saw the growth of the city, obviously. Countless high rises going up.
Yes.
We've really got to know the landscape even further just by getting to meet some people within the chamber and whatnot as far as what's coming. And it seems like there's just we've only really scratched the surface of growth here in New Rochelle. So it just seems to be the perfect fit. We found the perfect spot. We thought a beautiful building, the Stella, great apartment units over there, and we just felt like that area over there was the perfect area to open and operate a restaurant.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, you got people coming over from the movie theater, and it's very busy over there, especially, the commuters coming off the train. And so, yeah, a great location for a place like yours. So you had mentioned you're in the Stella building. What was the process like in trying to gain that retail space? And I know that you were able to get a grant from the Retail Tenant Improvement Fund.
Yes.
So how tell us a little bit about that too.
Yeah, I mean, the process of securing the spot and the build out. I mean, the city's been I've opened a bunch of restaurants, over 10, and
So you're familiar with.
so I'm familiar with
yeah.
the process. And I have to say, out of everything that I've opened, New Rochelle has been the most cooperative. Really wanting to see the success of the restaurant. Eager and willing to be part of something new, and helping with permitting, and just really, and then really weaving us into like what's up and coming and wanting our success, not just just another business. They were able to put a face to the business, which was great.
Yeah.
And the fund that we received, we were ecstatic when we received it, and that money went to furnishing our kitchen with some really nice kitchen equipment and some
great.
furniture, and the bill that I think came out really nice. So we're super appreciative of the city and the chamber and obviously the fund. That was very appreciated.
That's great. So, what advice would you give to someone who's looking to start a small business or a restaurant? And as an entrepreneur, what would your best piece of advice be?
Well, I think the first thing is you have to be passionate about what you do.
Hmm.
You can't. Being in the franchise field, I have a lot of friends that ask me, what's the next hottest franchise, or you know, what would you get into? And I think that the only thing that I can really say to people is if you're not really passionate about your business, you're not going to, give it your all. And if you're not passionate and you're really just there to, take from the community, not really give back. I think, it's kind
Right.
of the entrepreneurs that I've seen succeed the most are passionate about their business. They work their business. They understand the numbers of the businesses. I would say for entrepreneurs, you have to understand that you're either all in or you're all out. There's really
Hmm.
not tiptoeing in it or not.
Yeah.
And I think that most people think it's one thing, but when they get
Hmm.
really involved with the franchise model or entrepreneurship as a whole, they don't realize that there is a lot of moving parts.
Hmm.
It's not cookie cutter. Every day is
Right.
different than the last, and you have to have that sort of that wow factor. I mean, there's a lot of competition out there. People's habits are changing, by the minute, and I think that
Right.
if you don't really wow people with really great service, I
Hmm.
think just having good food in this economic climate and the competition as a whole, I think people remember memorable experiences. So if you're not really willing to, so in summary, if you're not willing to go all in, be passionate about what you love, and deliver a great guest experience day in day out, I would say it's probably not for you.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's great advice. And now, are you planning on opening any other additional restaurants, or whether it's Teriyaki Madness, another location, or something else anywhere else?
So currently we have another Teriyaki Madness that's probably 8 weeks away from opening in Yonkers. It's,
Oh,
it's, in, a,
great.
it's in a building called the St. Clair.
Okay.
And we are very excited about Westchester as a whole,
Yeah.
very excited about New Rochelle. We're actually in negotiations with other businesses that we would feel would complement the city, and maybe that haven't been represented, categories that haven't been represented. But we're exploring all options. And like I said, the friendliness of the community and the willingness for the chamber and for the city to really step in and make sure that we're going to succeed, I think really gives us a vote of confidence to put more money into development.
That's great. I'm so glad to hear that, and I look forward to stopping into your location soon.
Thank you.
And what advice would you have for anyone looking to start a franchise?
To like start the actual business or the actual like singular location with among a franchise.
A singular location.
Yeah, so I would say first, do your homework. There's first you have to be really comfortable with the leadership of a company. You have to be,
Right.
this is a long-term commitment. Some franchise agreements are 10 years, some of them are 20. So I would say, first do your homework, and then talk to other franchisees of that system, because your best information is going to come from people
Sure.
that are part of that particular brand. I actually, when I get into a brand, I talk to people that have failed as well as succeeded, because I want to know sort of not necessarily just what the franchise wants you to know, but like what do you need to know? What are the good and what's the bad?
Yeah.
Sort of the full picture, so you can make an educated decision. So
Yeah.
really do your homework, and don't really get sold up in when people go to new store openings and they see busy and energy and whatnot. People, they always say nothing sells new restaurants like new store openings, because people see lines, people see
Right.
people see energy, people see happy. And at the end of the day, like a franchise, like any other business, is a long-term commitment, and
Sure.
you have to think about the viability of the franchise model. Do you feel like that is something that will be viable in 5, 10, 15 years? I mean, a lot of things are trendy, whether it's fitness or food or
Right.
services, and I think you really just have to look at the long-term viability of that particular segment.
Yeah, no, that's great advice, and it's just like with any other business. It takes time to build up your clientele.
Yes.
It takes time for people to adjust to a routine. So if you have someone who lives in the area and they make it a tradition by going into Teriyaki every Tuesday.
Yeah.
So it takes time for
Well, that would be
adjustments.
my other advice to people getting in the business. It's really a long game. You're really building your customer base one guest at a time. We opened our restaurant here in New Rochelle. We did a soft opening. We're going to do a ribbon cutting upcoming.
Okay.
And, our theory is, when you get in the franchise model, sometimes people tend to want to have the biggest opening or they compete with each other.
Right.
And we really felt like delivering our brand promise day in, day out of just really excellent food made correctly in a clean and friendly environment. That was like our promise, and I'm comfortable that the way that we've opened is the right way to do it. So I think when people are looking at franchises or entrepreneurship, I think it's a long game. It's not what am I doing today. It's how do I build the business for tomorrow.
Yeah, that's great advice. Now, as we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to add? Not only about Teriyaki Madness, but anything else? Any other advice or upcoming events?
Well, we do have a ribbon coming up, and that should be on May 8th, I believe it is.
Okay.
And any other advice? I mean, I would just say, we have, if you go on our download our app, you do get a free bowl. So especially
great.
for college students or anybody looking
Yeah.
for to try our food and not have to pay for it on one of them. I think downloading the app is a good way to see
Yeah.
what we have to offer, and also
Absolutely.
get a free meal on us. I would say come down and give us a try. I mean,
Great.
we're on all the major delivery platforms. Uber, DoorDash. We have our own. We're about to launch our catering on Easy Cater, or you can do catering through our website, and other things to. Other things to add. I mean, I just can't overemphasize just how great the city and how important that fund was for us and to other small business and entrepreneurs and like I said, I'm ecstatic. I've done this about a dozen times, and I haven't had an experience like this yet. So I mean, I'm definitely if it's my vote, and it is my vote, I would definitely consider putting more funds into the city of New Rochelle.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, Tony. Thank you for coming by, and I look forward to stopping in soon.
All right. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks. And that's all for the Chamber Chat this week. I'm Matt Ricker. We'll see you next time.